My name is Tessa Delgado, and I never thought I'd stand in a room where the Texas governor would rise to his feet for me. The state capitol in Austin gleamed that morning, its pink granite walls catching the pale spring light like they'd been waiting for this moment. Chandeliers hung heavy above, casting soft glints across rows of polished oak chairs. The air smelled of wax and history, and as I stepped forward in my dress uniform, San Antonio Fire Department, badge number 472, my boots clicked against the marble floor, each step echoing louder than my heartbeat. I didn't smile. I didn't need to. The applause rolled in like a slow tide, deliberate, filling the space between the columns. Firefighter Tessa Delgado. The announcer's voice rang out, for extraordinary courage and leadership in the face of danger. That's when it happened. The governor stood, his suit crisp, his nod sharp and sure. The room followed, fire chiefs, lawmakers, families, all rising, their shoes tapping, hands clapping, a wall of sound built on years I'd spent fighting fires no one else saw. My chest tightened, not with pride but with something quieter, like the moment you realize you've carried a weight so long you forgot how light you could feel without it. Inside my jacket pocket, my phone buzzed, muted but insistent. I knew who it was. I didn't check. Hours later, in a hotel room overlooking Austin's skyline, I finally looked. My boots were unlaced but still on, my uniform jacket draped over the chair, its silver badge catching the lamp's glow. I leaned back against the headboard and opened the family group chat. Mia. Wait, the governor? You didn't say it was this big. Kinda shady. Tessa. Matthew. Could have given us a heads up. Mom's upset. Attached was a screenshot of the live stream, captioned by Mom. Well, guess we weren't important enough. I stared at the messages, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. No reply came. I didn't know them when, earlier that day, I turned to face the audience, my eyes scanning the rows. Near the front, 5 chairs sat untouched, a small placard reading Delgado family. No coats slung over the backs, no programs crumpled on the seats, no sign they'd even thought to show up. Just perfect absence, like they'd never planned to be proud. The same family who laughed when I practiced ladder drills in the backyard, who called my firefighting dreams a phase, who rolled their eyes when I polished my JRTC boots. Now, they were mad I hadn't saved them a seat. Let them be mad. The room stood for me. They never had. I grew up in San Antonio, in a stucco house on the west side where the air always smelled of mesquite and my uncle's old fire helmet sat dusty in the attic. He was a captain, the kind of man who'd run into a blaze to save a stranger's dog. His medals, tucked in a cigar box, were my secret as a kid. I'd trace their edges, imagining the stories they held. But my family didn't see it that way. Mom, Carla, worked double shifts at a department store, her hands rough from folding clothes and her dreams buried under bills. She saw my firehouse ambitions as a rebellion, something to get out of my system. Mia, my younger sister, was the dancer, her recitals filling the family calendar. Matthew, my older brother, fixed cars and paid the rent, his practical life a shield against my reckless choices. They wanted me to stay small, to fit their world. But I couldn't. I wouldn't. I was 15 when Mia said it, loud enough for the whole JROTC squad to hear. We were by the bleachers after drill practice, my boots scuffed but tied tight, my shirt tucked sharp. She leaned against the fence, her dance bag slung over one shoulder, and smirked. Tessa's just playing hero. Give her a cape and call it a day. The squad laughed, their chuckles slicing through the humid San Antonio air. I didn't flinch. I stared at my boots, then walked away, not fast, not slow, just steady. But inside, it burned. Home. My JROTC jacket hung over the kitchen chair, its brass buttons glinting under the fluorescent light. Mom brushed past it, her arms full of laundry. Maybe this'll teach you some sense, she muttered, like my drills were a punishment I'd earned. I lifted the jacket carefully, smoothing it so it wouldn't crease on the floor. I didn't answer. I never did. That year, I entered an essay contest called Why Service Matters. I wrote about my uncle, about the cigar box medals, about running into the fire when everyone else runs out. I poured my heart onto those pages, typing late into the night on our old desktop. I won second place statewide. The certificate came in a stiff envelope, and I left it on the kitchen counter, hoping someone would notice. The next morning, I found it under a coffee mug, a brown ring staining my name. Mom glanced at it over her cereal. Nice, but it's not a scholarship. No one came to the awards dinner. Mia had a dance recital. Matthew was working late, and Mom was too tired. I went alone, in a borrowed skirt and flats that pinched, smiled for the photo, and walked home under the streetlights. BY senior year, I wore my JROTC uniform to school once. Mia saw me in the hall and rolled her eyes, so hard, she nearly tripped. Still doing the firefighter costume thing? She said, loud enough for her friends to snicker. I looked at her, then at the ribbon I'd earned for leadership, pinned above my heart. It's not a costume if it's who you are, I said. She went quiet, but her silence wasn't an apology. It never was. Graduation day, I walked across the stage, my gown swishing, my diploma warm in my hand. In the parking lot, I saw Mom's car and my chest lifted. I smoothed my hair, reapplied my lip balm, and hurried over. But the car was empty. She'd driven Mia to a dance audition across town. I sat on the curb, the diploma curling in the heat, then walked home alone, the San Antonio sun heavy on my shoulders. I wasn't expecting a party. I just didn't want to be invisible. I joined the San Antonio Fire Department right out of high school, trading my JROTC uniform for probationary firefighter's gear. My first station was in a quiet corner of the city, near the old missions, where the air smelled of cedar and smoke. Training was brutal, hauling hoses until my shoulders screamed, climbing ladders in full gear, sweat stinging my eyes. Some of the guys doubted me, their smirks saying she won't last. But I did. I ran harder, lifted heavier, studied longer. My first real fire was a flash flood rescue, pulling a family from a submerged car as the river roared. I got a commendation, but I didn't tell my family. I knew they wouldn't care that I packed my duffel and left home without a send-off. No hugs, no good luck, just a bus ride to the station and a weather app to check for storms. I texted the family group chat a photo that first day, me in my turnout gear, hair in a tight bun, a half smile despite the nerves. Matthew left it on read. Mia replied hours later, "Is that real gear or like JROTC stuff?" I started typing an explanation about the 50 pounds of equipment, the heat of the suit, but deleted it. I sent a thumbs up instead. That first year was sweat and sore muscles, waking to sirens at dawn, folding my bunk sheets sharper than any conversation I'd had at home. No one asked how I was holding up, if the smoke stung my lungs, if I slept through the nightmares. At Christmas, I mailed gifts from the station's gift shop, a mug for Mom that said, "World's Best," a Spurs keychain for Matthew, Mia's favorite candy, wrapped tight. Only Mia replied, "Thanks, I guess." Kind of random, LOL. I saved the text, not because it meant anything, but because it was all I got. My first big call came during a summer wildfire. I led a team through choking smoke to save a trap hiker. We made it out, coughing but alive, and I got another commendation, pinned above my bunk. I didn't text home. Birthdays became quiet nights with station coffee and leftover tamales from the mess hall. I started calling them Thursdays. My family called once, not for me, but for Mia's dance scholarship celebration. They held the phone up to her trophy. "Oh, Tessa, you're still at the firehouse, right?" "Cool," Mia said, before the camera flipped back. I waved. No one noticed that IT came on a Tuesday, the kind of day you forget by dinner. I'd just come off a 24-hour shift, my boots leaving faint ash prints on the station floor. My phone pinged as I sat in the break room, sipping coffee that tasted like charcoal. An email, subject, Texas Firefighter of the Year notification. I thought it was a shift schedule or union notice, almost swiped it away. Then I saw my name in the body, Firefighter Tessa Delgado, bold and black, like it belonged there. I opened it, my thumb trembling. The words hit hard, in recognition of exceptional bravery, leadership, and service during the Alamo Heights warehouse fire, saving 12 lives under extreme conditions. That I read it twice, then a third time, not because I doubted it, but because it felt too real. The PDF had a state seal, faint like a watermark, and formal language that carried weight. I printed it on the station's clunky printer, the paper warm in my hands. I folded it once, twice, 3 times, the crease slicing through the seal. I left it on my locker, next to my helmet, and didn't touch it again for hours. That night, I opened the family group chat. The last message was Mia posting a selfie at a dance rehearsal, Matthew commenting star vibes. Mom had reacted with a heart. I stared at the screen, my fingers hovering. Then I typed, "I'm being honored in Austin next month. Texas Firefighter of the Year. Thought you'd know." I hit send before I could overthink it. 3 dots popped up fast. Mia, cute, don't burn the stage, lol. Matthew, cool, maybe the governor will post you. Mom sent a thumbs up, gray and small, like she'd tapped it by accident. I stared at the chat until the screen dimmed, their words settling like SH. It didn't hurt like it used to, but it didn't fade either. They weren't proud, they were annoyed, like I'd kept a secret they didn't deserve. I poured my coffee out, cold now, and stood by my locker. The folded email was still there, its edges sharp. I pressed it flat, ran my thumb over the seal, and whispered to the empty room, "They don't get to show up now." It wasn't anger, not exactly. It was a door closing, one I hadn't realized I'd left cracked open all these years. The morning of the ceremony, I stood in my Austin hotel room, pinning my last commendation ribbon above my heart. My dress uniform was crisp, the SAFD badge polished to a mirror shine, but the stitching on my jacket was fraying from years of wear. I didn't check the mirror. I knew what I carried. Outside, Austin woke under a soft spring haze, the Capitol's dome glowing faintly across the street. Bluebonnets line the sidewalks, their petals stubborn against the city's hum. The ceremony hall felt ancient, its granite walls and oak pews heavy with history. A low hum of voices filled the space, like the murmur before a storm. An aide adjusted my nameplate, another smoothed my cuff, their movements quick and wordless. 2 minutes, someone said from the hallway. I stepped into the light, rows of faces stretching before me, fire chiefs, legislators, families clutching programs. Near the front, 5 chairs sat untouched, a placard reading Delgado family. No wrinkles in the fabric, no purses, no sign of anyone rushing in late. Just absence, loud as ever. I remembered my high school graduation, the empty seat after Mom left for Mia's audition, the yearbook photo smile I held too long. Some absences carved deeper than presence ever could. The announcer's voice cut through. For exceptional bravery and unwavering commitment, firefighter Tessa Delgado. Applause rose, steady and full. Then the governor stood, his nod clear, his hands clapping. The room followed, a wave of sound washing over me. I moved forward, steps measured, the commendation pin heavy in my pocket. He shook my hand, firm and brief, a closure I hadn't known I needed. As I turned, the empty chairs caught my eye again, still pretending someone might arrive. They didn't. Across the aisle, a photographer named Marcus angled his camera. No wave, just focus. Click. The sound was soft but final, like a period at the end of a sentence I'd been writing since I was a kid. I didn't pose or smile. I didn't need to. 3 rows back, Lieutenant Grace Navarro sat, her hands folded, her eyes meeting mine with a small nod. It was enough. For once, I didn't scan the room for who wasn't there. I already knew. I didn't post the ceremony video or the governor's handshake. I shared one photo. Me, mid-stride in my dress uniform, back straight, passing the 5 empty Delgado chairs. No caption, no hashtags, just the image, uploaded before I closed my phone. By evening, it had spread. My station captain commented, "Proud to serve with you, Delgado." An old JROTC coach wrote, "Always knew you'd shine." A neighbor from our old West Side block added, "Saw you helping my kids with their bikes years ago. Didn't know you were doing this." I read each one, my throat tight, but didn't reply. It was enough that they saw. Then came the family. Around dusk, my phone buzzed. "Matthew, you made us look bad, Tessa. Should have told us it was a big deal." 5 minutes later, Mom's voicemail, her voice sharp and rushed. "Tessa, you embarrassed us. Family doesn't do this to each other." No mention of the award, no questions about the fire I'd fought, just their hurt over a moment they'd never earned. I opened my notes app, typed, "Family shows up or it doesn't." I stared at the words, then deleted them. Some truths are for holding, not sharing. The photo kept moving, shared by fire departments, added to tribute reels. Strangers wrote, "Those empty chairs say it all." My first shift lieutenant commented, "You led with heart before anyone noticed." I let the screen dim, the words settling like embers. My family's anger didn't sting like it used to. It just felt heavy, like gear I'd carried too long. I stepped onto the hotel balcony, the Austin skyline glittering below. The air was warm, the kind that holds you without asking. I didn't check my phone again. The world had seen the chairs, seen who wasn't there, and stood anyway. Back at the station, a package waited. A small cactus in a terracotta pot, no ribbon, just a note in Grace's neat handwriting. "Started this when you joined the crew. It's yours now." I ran a finger along its spines, sharp but steady. Grace once told me, "You cut back a cactus to make it stronger." Her words echoed now, clear as a siren. I set it by my bunk, let the light find it, and didn't touch it again for a while. A week later, I was back in San Antonio, my apartment overlooking the Riverwalk's quiet bend. One evening, a knock came. I opened the door to Lena, Mia's cousin, holding a foil pan of tamales wrapped in a faded dish towel. Her eyes were soft, careful. "I made your favorite," she said, no apology, just presence. I nodded and stepped aside. We sat at my small kitchen table, the one I'd eaten countless solo meals at, the tamales warm and a little too spicy, just like I remembered. Lena glanced around, at the framed photo from the ceremony, my dress uniform folded over a chair, the commendation box still unopened. "I didn't know it looked like this," she said, her voice low. I didn't answer. She picked up the photo, studied it. "You were always there, Tessa, and we didn't see you." Her voice cracked, but I didn't cry. I let her words sit. Later, we moved to the patio, the cactus catching the last of the day's light, its silhouette steady. Lena reached for her coffee. "I was wrong about you," she said. I looked at the cactus, then at her. Some things grow when you give them space. We clinked our mugs, no words, just steam rising between us. I didn't display my commendations right away. They sat in their boxes, stacked beside unpaid bills and the cactus, which now tilted slightly toward the window like it had plans of its own. One quiet Sunday, I took them out, not to prove anything, just to let them exist. I framed two, hung them above my bookshelf, not centered, not lit up, just there, like I finally was. Watering the cactus that morning, I noticed a new spine, small but sharp, pushing through. "I thought proof would fix it," I whispered. But they didn't want proof. They wanted a show. I'd stopped performing. That night, I sat on my patio, the Riverwalk's lights dancing below, the air soft and unbothered. I closed my eyes, let the hum of the city hold me. I didn't think about who wasn't there, didn't check my phone, didn't wonder what they'd say if they saw me now. I'd walked that aisle, stood in that light. The governor stood, I said to the night, not with pride, but peace. But I didn't need him to. I just needed to be there. And I was. Some nights, I sit by the San Antonio River Walk, the water catching the city's glow like it's holding a secret. The cactus sits by my window now, its spine sharper, its roots deeper, growing in a pot that's plain but steady. I don't need it to bloom. I just need it to be. That's what I've learned. Some things don't need an audience to matter. The governor stood for me that day in Austin, his handshake firm, the room's applause heavy. But it's not their hands I carry. It's the weight of every fire I've run into, every life I've pulled from the smoke, every morning I lace my boots when no one was watching, my family's still out there, living their lives. Mia's dancing in some spotlight, Matthew's fixing cars, Mom's folding clothes. They might see the photo one day, the one with the empty chairs, and feel something, guilt, maybe, or pride too late. I don't wait for it anymore. Lena's tamales, Grace's cactus, the strangers who wrote "We see you." Those are the sparks that keep me warm. I whisper to the river sometimes, not for anyone, just because the moment asks. Some rooms aren't meant for them. And I'm okay with that. The cactus caught the morning light today, a new spine glinting like it knew its place. I held my coffee, let the steam curl, and didn't think about who wasn't there. I'd arrived. Not for them. Not for the governor. But for me. That's the fire I carry now. The one that burns quiet but never goes out. To everyone who's walked this journey with me. Thank you. You've stood with me through smoke, silence, and empty chairs. If this story lit something in you, hit that subscribe button and join us, where every fire tells a story of grit, heart, and a new beginning. Keep fighting your own fires, and I'll meet you at the station.